Giant Particle Collider struggles. The biggest, most expensive physics machine in the whole world is riddled with thousands of bad electrical connections, and many of the magnets meant to whiz high-energy subatomic particles around a 17-mile underground racetrack have mysteriously lost their ability to operate at high energies, and some physicists are deserting the European project, at least temporarily, to work at a smaller rival machine across the ocean. And after 15 years and $9 billion in a showy switch-on ceremony last September, the Large Hadron Collider, the giant particle accelerator outside Geneva, has yet to collide any particles at all. This week, scientists and engineers at the European Center for Nuclear Research, or CERN, C-E-R-N, are to announce how and when their machine will start running this winter, theoretically. That would be a champagne moment. But scientists say it could be years, if ever, before the collider runs at full strength or speed, stretching out the time it should take to achieve the collider's main goals, like producing a particle known as the Higgs boson, thought to be responsible for imbuing other elementary particles of mass, or identifying the dark matter that astronomers say makes up 25% of the universe or the cosmos. The energy shortfall could also limit the collider's ability to test even more exotic ideas, like the existence of extra dimensions beyond the three of space and one of time that characterize life as we know it. The fact is, it's likely to take a while to get the results we really want, said a Harvard physicist who is an architect of the extra dimension theory. The collider was built to accelerate protons to energies of 7 trillion electron volts and smash them together in search of particles and forces that reigned earlier than the first trillionth of a second of time. But the machine could run as low as 4 trillion electron volts for its first year. Upgrades theoretically would come a year or two later. Anyway, some say that it could even create many black holes that could gravitate to the center of the Earth. So then what would happen? Perhaps they're trying to go too far with all these things. Physicists on both sides of the Atlantic say they are confident that the European machine will produce groundbreaking science eventually, and quickly catch up to our American rival, even at the lower energies. All big accelerators have gone through painful beginnings. These are baby problems, said a physicist at the Fermi National Accelerator Laboratory. But some physicists admit to being impatient. I've waited 15 years, said a leading particle scientist or theorist at the Institute for Advanced Study in Princeton. I want to get it up and running. We can't tolerate another disaster. It has to run smoothly from now on. Of course, the delays are hardest on younger scientists, who may need data to complete a thesis or work toward tenure. Slowing a recent physics brain drain from the United States to Europe Some have gone to work at Fermi Lab, where the rival Tevatron accelerator has been smashing together protons and antiprotons for the last decade. Colliders get their oomph from Einstein's equivalence of mass and energy, both expressed in the currency of electron volts. The CERN collider was designed to investigate what happens at energies and distances where the reigning theory, or the present theory, known as the Standard Model, breaks down and gives nonsense answers. The collider's own prodigious or huge energies are in some way its worst enemy. At full strength, the energy stored in superconducting magnets would equal that of an Airbus A380 flying at 450 miles an hour. And the proton beam itself could pierce 100 feet of solid copper. So, in order to carry enough current, a collider's magnets are cooled by liquid helium to a temperature of 1.9 degrees above absolute zero, at which point the niobium titanium cables in them lose all electrical resistance and become superconducting. Any variance, however, such as a bad soldering job on a splice, can cause resistance and heat the cable and cause it to lose its superconductivity and what physicists call a quench, which is what happened on September 19th when the junction between two magnets vaporized and a shower of sparks, soot, and liberated helium. So technicians have spent most of the last year cleaning up and inspecting thousands of splices in the collider. Approximately 5,000 will have to be redone. Head of CERN's Accelerator Division said, "The exploding splices have diverted engineers' attention from the mystery of the underperforming magnets. Before the superconducting magnets are installed, engineers train each one by ramping up its electrical current until the magnet fails, or quenches. Thus the magnet gradually grows comfortable with higher and higher current, or at least that's the theory. All the magnets for the collider were trained to an energy above 7 trillion electron volts before being installed," Dr. Myers said, head of CERN's Accelerator Division. "But when engineers tried to take one of the ring's 8 sectors to a higher energy last year, some magnets unexpectedly failed. A mystery." In an email exchange, Lucio Razzi, head of magnets for CERN, said that 49 magnets had lost their training in the sectors tested and that it was impossible to estimate how many in the entire collider had gone bad. He said the magnets in question had all met specifications, but the problem could have come from having sat outside before they were installed. Retraining magnets is costly and time-consuming, experts say, and it might not be worth the wait to get all the way to the original target energy. "So, it looks like we can get to 6.5 relatively easy," Dr. Myers said, "but 7 trillion electron volts would require a lot of training, or retraining. Many scientists would be perfectly happy if the collider never got above 5 trillion volts or electron volts," said a Fermilab theorist who is on one of the CERN collector teams. For the immediate future, however, physicists are not even going to get that. Dr. Myers said he thought the splices as they are could handle possibly 4 trillion electron volts. "We could be doing physics at the end of November," he said in July, before new vacuum leaks pushed the schedule back even further. "It's not the design energy of the machine, but it's 4 times higher than the Tevatron, he said. Another physicist who works at CERN said that they would happily take that energy level. The public pays for this, and we need to start delivering. Anyway, perhaps there's something wrong with this whole huge, gigantic collider. And what about the mystery? Perhaps it's not supposed to be done. Maybe they should put their energies and their money and their talents into doing something else. Something more besides trying to make this huge collider that could potentially, who knows what it could lead to. Anyway, these are more signs, the end times, transition days, and there are many signs happening all around the world every day.